And then I will go ahead and hit the stream live on custom streaming service, preparing live stream. Give it a minute to think about it. I'm also monitoring my YouTube channel on my other computer. So
Cool.
hopefully it will go. And then Jeffrey, feel free to check your stuff. So, all right, I think we are live. Welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Dani, physician astrologer. We're stepping outside of our comfort zone today. I don't know if anyone here is watching us right now, but if they are, if they can give us a thumbs up that they can hear us, that would be amazing, because it would be really awful if we're doing this and no one can hear us. Actually, you know what? I can check my own sound. Quick, bear with me, guys. It would be really awful. I can hear us.
I can hear
Yay!
you.
It's working. We are live on YouTube. I am so happy right now. So just a little background about this panel. This is the experts panel. At most, there's 5 or 6 of us, and sometimes just 3 of us get together. And I think me and Jeffrey are getting together in a few weeks as well to talk about this topic in a little bit more depth, in a more practical way. But what we do is we sort of support each other and we share with each other what we do, which not only helps us, but it helps our clients and our patients. And because if we know somebody that does these things, then we can say, oh, I know a person, I can help you. So I've really enjoyed this form of expression, and we've been doing it on Facebook, but for some reason, Facebook changed its rules about streaming. And so we're no
Facebook just
longer,
wants us all to go to YouTube.
yeah,
They
and
want us
that's
all to go to
fine,
YouTube. Yeah.
because in the background of all of this, I have been slowly building my following on my YouTube channel, and I feel like it'd be really nice if we can. Cool, awesome, they can hear us. It'd be really cool to just kind of step into the YouTube land and see what kind of a response we get. And the format's been slowly evolving over the year or so. We were a little bit more strict and sort of nervous, and I think now we're all a little bit more relaxed, and maybe we can just kind of show ourselves a little bit more. So you guys all know me on my channel. I'm Dr. Dani. I'm a physician astrologer. I am an allopathic trained medical doctor through the traditional route. I have been watching over my years of training and practice how the cycles of the stars and the sun and the planet and the moon indeed affect us on a very personal, emotional, physical, mental level. Some people have a lot of luck in their lives, and some people just don't seem to have it for some reason. And it's always intrigued me why some people are so unfortunate and how some are just fine. And it has occurred to me that watching these stellar cycles can help anticipate that and even break some of those cycles if you learn how to consciously work with them. And so that's what I try to do. Soul guided living through astrology. How do you tap into your highest purpose? How do you tap into your God-given abundance? And how do you express your talents in the fullest way in which you were supposed to? And so when I'm not watching the stars, I am delivering the star seeds, because that's my specialty, obstetrics and gynecology. I currently work shift work at a hospital, so I have time to explore these. There's more books, you guys, on astrology than there are medicine, I promise you. So it keeps me pretty, it keeps
That's
me
awesome.
pretty busy. So I have with me Jeffrey Kamke. He's a wealth strategist and an energetic spiritual worker, and then Dr. Andrea Griner. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and kind of what they do. And then I'm going to give you guys like about a 5-minute, 10-minute look at the stars ahead for the next couple of weeks. Okay. So Jeffrey, go ahead and tell us about you and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us on your channel, Dr. Dani.
Yeah.
Love it. So yeah, I do wealth energetics. So I have a very unique background. I did a lot of work in the bioenergetic space for about a decade. And about, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago now, got into the financial services side, but more on the wealth strategy side. And so I blend those two things because I found that we have to do the deep inner work, which I think is very spiritual work, to become the fullest version of ourselves, to be able to maximize the money that we have flowing through our hands and to reach our goals. So for me, I'm looking at both. When we work with clients, it's looking at both aspects. We have to look at their inner work, and we have to align money with people's values and beliefs. And that's something that doesn't get happened a lot in the financial services space. It's usually product placement. Oh, put your money in this product and it's going to do X for you. It's going to grow to some big number. And a lot of times we're not checking into our deeper centers of ourself to find out is this truly in alignment with me and where I want to go? And does it align? Is there an energetic alignment with what I'm doing with my money? So those are some core things that we do. Do you want me to get into some of the other things we talked about, Dani, or just leave it for that as an introduction?
Let's just do introductions right now.
Perfect.
Yeah. Dr. G.
Hello. Yes, I am Dr. G. I am a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist. And in 2020, I actually moved all of my business online, created an energy healing modality to help people access their meridians from anywhere. So essentially, I am a facilitator for leaders to have higher levels of energy and emotional mastery. Because if we know how to master our emotions, now that does not mean stuffing, that means identify them, clear them, move into a higher frequency, then you're going to have more money, prosperity, more abundance in your body. You're going to have better relationships. And so my main focuses are body, business, and relationships. And when I work with my leaders through the energetics, things just start happening and they have that clarity, they have the confidence, they start moving into the leadership and greater impact that they're really here to do. So that's what I do.
I mean, I could probably embellish on that just a little bit more.
Well, and funny because Dani and Jeff have I've worked with both Dani and Jeff. So yeah.
Yeah, and Dr. G's really amazing. Like you really you do these clearings with her, and you're like, okay, I just did a clearing. That's cool. Whatever. I don't feel any different. And then you like a couple days later, maybe a day later, little synchronicities start happening, and then your mind starts popping, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoo, I'm in a totally different place. It's really incredible the energetic work that you do, and sometimes the stuff you say to me just makes so much sense, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I'm just really excited to have you here. Thank you so much. And Jeff too. I mean, you know, you've got this idea. You understand that there are the sort of millionaires and everybody else, and then there's the trillionaires, right? And they do things a different way. They do things differently. They move their money around in a different way. They protect their money in a different way. You might look at just their person and they have nothing, but they've got access to millions and billions of dollars all over the world. And there's a way to do that. And you kind of access some of those secrets. So what I wanted to talk with you guys about, and also about astrology and just money in general, is the difference between wealth, prosperity, abundance, and luck, and what those mean to us sort of at a fundamental level. And for me, wealth is just having the things. Okay, it's the money, it's the property, it's the energy to be able to move things around. And you can have that in abundance. You can have a lot of other things in abundance too. Abundance is just more of something. And then luck is neither good nor bad. It's just stuff that sort of happens that feels almost predestined, like you just, who could have planned that, you know? And then prosperity is the ability to, in a way that is spiritually guided, bring all of that to fruition in its highest timeline, in its highest vibrational expression, so that you are living that soul guided life, right? So that you can express yourself, so that you can give, so that whenever anybody needs something, you can pull the resources to help them, so that you know, just all of that just sort of brings it together. So one of the things I like to talk about too with money is it's not just having the thing. Like you can wish for it all day long and have the luck that it comes to you, but then there's also a responsibility towards it too. You know, you have to be able to take care of it. You have to be able to protect it. You have to know when you're giving too much and know when to pull back. And so that's why I wanted to bring you guys here and sort of talk a little bit about how those terms, how those sets of sacred intentions, sort of how they feel to you. So Jeffrey, go ahead and whatever you think on that.
Whatever.
Yes, I'm going to kind of label it a little more generic, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not generic's the right word, but I know if you read different books, you know, they'll give different definitions for prosperity and abundance and wealth. And I think I kind of like to just blend them together in my mind and say, for me, it's a plentitude thing. If you're in alignment and then you have abundance, and it's not just abundance of money, it's abundance of all things. It's abundance of happiness. It's abundance of connection. It's abundance of health. It's abundance of energy. It's abundance of, you know, all things really. what it boils down to for me. So you can call that abundance. You have an abundance of all things. You're wealthy in all things, material and non-material. But I think luck is obviously different. Luck, I think, is a frequency. I think it can mean to me, it's about your level of being connected to source and to your power. And it can look lucky externally, but to you, you just know what you're feeling, you know your alignment with it, and you know that once you get to a certain point where your limitations aren't holding you back and you're more in command of your creatorship, lucky things start coming to you. And it just looks like luck, but it's just you being in control of your manifestation and your creation. That's my
can I add this too,
yeah.
like as a conversation? Because I kind of feel the same. I almost feel like luck is the outside watching, and it's like
Mm,
when things happen, I know it's going to happen. I was like, how many people you say, I knew I was going to win that. I just
yep.
knew it. I knew I was
Yeah.
going to win that. And it was like, that's what Jeff's talking about. It's intuition. It's like that
Mhm.
spiritual sacred alignment that you're just like, I knew. That's how I know that's happened to all of you. Like
Yeah.
they might be small. Now,
Yep.
where does it get like shoved off? Is it's like, well, I shouldn't have too much of that. We'll probably spin ourselves off. But that luck is like, I think that's the outside looking in, like, oh, she's so lucky. Oh, but nobody knows, like, I might look lucky on the outside, but I had to do some nitty gritty work to get to that like
Right.
sacred alignment, to the trust, to the intuition, to know that that's going to happen. That's going to work for me.
Mhm.
So it's so different. I think luck is fascinating because um, there's, I think, two different things are happening there.
Yeah, you make me think, Andrea, of our niece is getting married here next weekend, and it makes me think back to when Beth and I got married, my wife. We had been planning the wedding in like April, March and April, and we got married in August. And we picked the date, and we just looking ahead at the calendar for the summer, we're like August 24th just jumped out at us. It was just that ping of like, that's the date we need to do it. And we had an outdoor wedding, and like all of our family's like, what's your plan B? And we're like, we don't need a plan B. Like we knew there was no doubt that it was going to be fine. And it was like a 82-degree day, sunny, not a cloud in the sky hardly. It was perfect. And that was to a lot of people like, oh, you got lucky that it didn't rain. Like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. We didn't get lucky. It's exactly like you said, Andrea. Like we had a knowingness, and when you're connected
Yeah.
in your flow that way, you don't need plan Bs, and it looks serendipitous to other people, but it's just you
Yeah.
being dialed in. And I think we all have experiences in that way, right? I mean, we all have those. It's just how do we get those experiences to show up maybe in other areas of our life that we can't seem to get lucky in, right? That's the thing. Like, how do we generate that? And I think you alluded to that, Dr. Danny. Like, that's the energetic side. That's the inner work side. And like for me, when it comes to money, you know, we talked about this before we went live, like the spiritual side of money for me and really abundance and wealth is who we are right now. Most of us are going for more than that. There's something more that we're trying to achieve, and it could be in any category of abundance and wealth or all of them. We want, raise the bar in every area. There might be one that stands at the top of the list, but as you have to develop yourself to be the type of person that can create the new change in that area. And that is the refining spiritual process. And so one of our mentors, Dr. Sue Morter, she always talks about that when you're going for wealth, it's not about the money, it's about the materialization of your wealth. And that the 3D, the collapsing of the wave into a particle is just the last thing to show up. If you're already wealthy on the inside, then you have the happiness and the connection and the health and all those things. The money and the material things, a nicer house or a nicer car to drive, like those are like the last things to show up if you're already energetically aligned. And to me, that same principle is there with wealth or with luck, excuse me. Like if you're already in alignment, then that stuff is going to naturally start showing up. You're going to get, you're going to win the concert tickets and you're going to do those types of things because you're just in alignment with that. And especially when it's like with the things that you're trying to achieve in your life, it looks lucky because you're already in alignment with it. You have a knowingness, your resistance is low. You've removed interference to you creating those things in your life. So yeah, to everybody else, like, oh my gosh, everything that you do, everything falls in
It just
place.
works out. It always works out,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just luck.
Have you guys noticed in any of your work with your clients that transformation actually take place where they go from
oh,
a
yeah.
place where they're very unlucky to holy smokes, you did it, and was it something that was physical, or would you say that it was energetic or spiritual?
For every single one of my clients has that, because that's what I work on. They have to come home. They have to trust their bodies. They have to trust themselves. They have to, it's actually, when Jeff was talking, it's like, if you have any lack mentality, it's going to be harder. Like the two things to me is like trust and a willingness to never give up. And being willing to be like, I know this is possible. I'm a possibilist for me. So every single one of my clients gets to that place because I bring them home into their body. I bring them into alignment. We clear the clutter. We clear the energetic clutter. They start clearing their house clutter. Shit comes. Like 50K contracts, 100, finding, money wherever, getting the job of their dreams. Their relationship changes. Like, just like Jeff said, that you change the inside of the person or contribute to it or declutter or, whatever the thing is. And it's a ripple. They have the abundance within and it all starts changing. Now, is it serendipitous every single day? Not at first, but it gets to be more and more and more. I'm big on celebrating and gratitude. So like when Jeff was talking, it's like people, well, how do I keep it going? Celebration and gratitude and more, please.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Celebration, gratitude, and more, please. Oh my God, my fridge is full of food. Thank you, thank you, thank you. More, please. Oh my God, I have a chair to sit on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. More, please. It might sound insane to be like, I don't have food in my fridge, but I have ketchup. Thank you for that ketchup and more, please.
Yeah. Because even if you're stuck, you're spinning your wheels, you got dead out your ears, you can still, the one thing you can do every single day, every single minute that you feel that way is literally say thank you for something. Right?
Yeah.
Even if it's the shoes on your feet. Yeah. Or if your heart's beating, or if you're breathing in air, like, and you're not there are things, even if you're sitting in a hospital
even if you're in a
bed,
hospital, like
there's
I
something.
got a bed under me. I'm plugged into a machine that's keeping me alive. I have eyesight. I can see beautiful things. I have fingers. I can touch, it's like, and even, gratitude. I used to hate this because I was like, ugh, and then when I was like, oh, gratitude really is the grease. You want more of what you're getting? Gratitude and asking. So many people don't know how to ask for more. Thank you. More, please.
Right. They feel like they don't deserve it for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I cut you off, Jeff, but I got excited because I love like all that. It's fascinating and it is an exciting energy. Like if you think of luck, I would say serendipity for me, or really just that inner knowing and alignment. You watch that and it's like, it is exciting because you're like, ooh, this is what I've been asking for, and then you can get more of that if you're willing. And you'll probably see this in, Jeff too, like, do your clients ever stop kind of building? I mean, if let's say you're building to 1 million, but then you're like, okay, well now I want to build my legacy, and now I want to build beyond that, and now I want to build for the world. I mean, you can always have that world dream with your inner dream, your personal dreams too. So it's sort of like, it doesn't have to ever stop.
Totally. So to answer your question, Dr. Dani, I had a client earlier in the week that we've been working for many weeks on, and we did several weeks ago, she had a vision board, and we can do a subconscious synchronization process so that she's aligned to her vision board. And it'd been several weeks. And then our call this week, she was going for, one of the things on her board was like relationships, because she hasn't had a good relationship in a while and she's been looking for that. And she goes, it's starting to get to be a little overwhelming. I've got all these like perfect guys showing up in my life, like a bunch of them. So it's like, yeah, you get the inner part right, you remove the interference, and then it's some of the training I've had, they say it's law. I mean, it's law. What you vibrate is attracted to you. It is law that it happens. And if it's not, it's just the opposite law, if you will, the law of pushing it away that's showing up in your life. You're just vibrating opposite of what you want, the lack of what you want, or the disbelief of what you want. And that is showing up in your life. It's still law. Like if you're feeling stuck, it's just because you're putting out that vibration and it's showing up in your life. So you can change it. And like Andrea just said, that's the way to do it. Gratitude and thankfulness. And I needed to hear that. I need that reminder. So.
And I really think you do need to work with people. I think you can watch all these videos in the world and you can, read the books and stuff, but to have somebody hold space for you, analyze it without any personal attachment to it, and give you their assessment, which, I don't have just anybody on my channel. I have some experts right here. Like, we are some experts, right? It really does help. It really, really, really does help.
Yeah.
I just I love this conversation that we're having. I'm so excited because it seems like it's hard. It seems like it's hard to, the journey of abundance. You think it's about, oh, I just need all this money. Well, what do you really need the money for? You have to ask yourself that too, right? What are you going to buy? What are you going to invest? Or do you think money's going to give you something else that you really, really want? And what is that? Because it's not always about money. Money's just an energy. And for me, it was like, oh, I want this much. And one of the funniest things that happens was I did one of those meditations. I sat down and I visualized this amount of money. And I got a fax of all things the very next day to my office that I'd never gotten a fax before about anything, that said I won 11, or I didn't win, but I was entitled to an inheritance of $11 million from a Nigerian prince. The universe is funny, right? So it was like, okay, sure. Yeah. You need 11 million bucks. Here you go, Dr. Dani. Well, what did I really want that for? Did I want that for retirement? Why did I want to retire? Because I want more time to do what? So you end up going through this entire like soul, you have to discover yourself and what it is that you really want when you're going through this process of true spiritual abundance, because the universe will give you the money if you want it, and it'll give it to you in nefarious means. It doesn't care one way or the other. You're always creating your reality. And so if you want it for good, if you want it to serve the highest purpose, find out what that purpose is. So I love this. Can I share some astrology with you guys since you're on my channel? I don't know if you guys are following any of my other stuff that I've been doing. I just had an amazing conversation with another astrologer last week, or earlier this week, actually. Her name's Blossom with Lotus. And we talked about the Venus-Sun conjunction, which happened on Tuesday. Okay. Now, this is like a 20-month thing. This happens every 20 months. It is one of the nicest times of the Venus cycle. It's a brand new creative cycle. Andrea, I always think of you because you're very Venusian. You like when I think of Venus, when I talk about Venus to people, I am talking about that divine spark of creative light inside of you. I actually call her the Kundalini energy, the chi, the prana, the chakra. She is what flows. You can look in a bunch of different sources throughout the internet what chakra is Venus related to, and you're trying to do medical astrology, and there's a million different opinions. And so for me, when I really sit down with what Venus energy is, it is that flowing prana. And I know you're very tapped into that. So the work you do is very Venusian, meaning Venus attains wisdom by experiencing through the senses. So she feels her way through wisdom, not just taste, touch, smelling, sound, all that, but also the intuition, the emotional sense, the etheric body. And so for her to line up with the sun, which is our highest expression of our spiritual self, in the constellation of Taurus, which Venus rules, which is very earthy, which is very materialistic. It is money, it is abundance, it is the earth, it is the thing we live in. This is just a very nice timing of things. So this is a brand new cycle for Venus. Then we've also got a brand new lunar cycle that started yesterday, also in Taurus. So Sun, Moon, Venus, all together, all in Taurus, right there with the Pleiades, all very beautiful, beautiful energy. And then you have next week and the week after, you have Mercury moving into the same position that Venus was. And so you've got a brand new Mercury cycle. Mercury is commerce. Mercury is giving and taking. It's all about the money and the energy. And so all of this beautiful energy is right now sitting in Taurus. If you guys will indulge me for just a moment, I'm going to share my screen because I want to show you the solar system. Okay. All right, there it is. Sorry. Okay. So this is what I'm referring to. When we look at the solar system and we just kind of zoom out a little bit, we're above it, you see the sun, Mercury, and Venus. all behind the other side of the sun. They are in service to the sun. And so you've got knowledge and energy transmitting through Mercury, and you have sensation, beauty, and abundance transmitting through Venus. When you put the two of these together, this is like having the right and the left hemispheres of the brain working together at the same time. If Venus attains wisdom through the sensations and enlightenment through knowledge of sensations, Mercury does it through the knowledge. So Venus has the apple, but maybe doesn't know the name of it, but she can taste it, and she can feel the crunch and the weight of the apple and the aroma and the beautiful skin color of the apple. Where Mercury knows the name of the apple, the binomial nomenclature, the seed, the stem, the DNA, all of that stuff. You put those two things together, this is Venus and Mercury through the highest expression of the sun. And this is what we are dealing with right now. This is what it looks like in the sky right now. You can't see it because the sun's right there. But if you could take the sun out of the sky, here you would have Mercury, Venus, and sun. And then a little bit further back here in Jupiter and Uranus. Let me back this up a few days. Oh, I moved this forward to the solstice point because I was very curious to see if there was an event coming that is going to be very, very interesting. And this side of the sky, do you see this faint band right here? Do y'all see that? That is the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. So if you were to look on the other side of the sky right now, you would see the galactic center, you would see Scorpio, you would see Sagittarius, you'd see Ophiuchus, you would see those constellations. So they're polar opposites, 180 degrees apart from each other at the sky. The one with the galactic center and Ophiuchus, that coincides with the winter solstice. That's called the Golden Gate. And the Silver Gate is on this side of the sky. And so this is the gateway for men. This is souls becoming material. This is energy becoming things. So all of this is happening right around the solstice. So this is a very, very powerful point as well. So we have a lot of very nice, auspicious energy coming for us in the skies. But I got to show you one more thing. This is my calendar. So this is the Taurus new moon that was yesterday. There is a Mars square Pluto energy coming early next week. Mars is our action. Pluto is the Lord of wealth, the Lord of destruction, the Lord of the underworld. When you put these two together, you get extreme power. Sometimes you get military type energy, but you can also have very transformational action. And squares are tension. So we don't like to talk about squares a lot in love and light and astrology, but squares don't have to always be bad. They're basically like a tension between the good and the bad of both of these energies. And so there may be some energy that feels angry or pent up next week. If any of your clients come to you and they're feeling frustrated, angry, or afraid, it could be because of this. And so what I like to tell people to do if they're feeling that fight or fornicate energy is to like blow off some steam, exercise, however it is that they need to do that. And then the following week, there is Venus and Sun square to the planet of Neptune, which is the sort of the cosmic shaman of the zodiac. Anything's possible with Neptune. And so there's a lot of illusion and delusion surrounding that. So you want to be careful with spiritual practices that don't resonate with your authenticity. You want to check in with your own spiritual practices and then make sure that they are aligning with who you are. And then that Mercury conjunct Sun is the week after this right here. So everything's going to be moving into the constellation of Gemini, right to that silver gate that we talked about on the previous picture. This is all going to be happening in 2 weeks. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update about what's coming for June, since we're kind of doing a little forecast, and I'll let these guys kind of tell you what they think here in a minute too. And then right at the very end of the month, Saturn stations retrograde. Saturn is one of the greater malefics of the of astrology. And whenever that happens, that means that Saturn is on the same side of the sun as Earth. It's a very internal process. There's a reworking of structures. It's happening in the constellation of Aquarius, which is groups. So group structures might be being reworked, and it might start from inner work with members of the group. So the only other thing coming is the Sagittarius full moon right around the solstice. So I'll be doing separate videos on all of this. I'll be doing a video on Venus entering into Gemini, and we'll be talking more about this Silver Gate energy next week as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you guys want to share, we can do that.
That's funny because I'm a triple gem with some Sag. So I'm like, okay, well, June
Yeah.
is gonna look like Jeff, why don't do you wanna share your June forecast? Anything
Yeah,
else?
I mean, in my world, I don't necessarily have
I know.
forecasts of
I know.
Yeah.
anything
Well, I
coming.
think it's like what's, what we're seeing with our clients and what's your sense of, for you, like the wealth industry, like what the,
Yeah.
there's some weird shit happening, like talk about
Yep.
structures disintegrating. How do you trust investment? How do you build that when a system is like, is it gonna fall or is it gonna stay?
Yeah.
Like I think for you, it's like that's where I look to you. I'm like, okay, Jeff, like I think in my head. I have a lot of conversations with you in my head of like, okay, well, I wonder what Jeff would say about this, like all this stuff
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah,
So
I think a few conversations that have come up this week with a couple clients. We've been working on like an annuity for somebody that's already in retirement. And, I've dabbled in trading, like doing Forex trading before. So I know, maybe a elementary level of that. And anytime that you have money and you're like either in profit or like in the stock market right now, we're at record highs. We've had record highs keep repeating over and over and over again for like what, the last year plus. So anytime we have, and this isn't financial advice, but anytime we are at a new high, like you're in profit, it's usually smart to take profit. And it's opposite of psychologically what comes up. And you guys have probably heard this before. Anytime you're an investor or a trader, you want to get out when the markets are going down, and you want to continue to buy when the markets are going up. And generally that's opposite. Usually when the markets are up and we have this feeling good, like, oh, it's record highs, abundance is everywhere, everybody's getting rich and wealthy. That's usually when you want to take some money off the table. And your reason you do that is to protect it. You lock in your gains, protect your gains. Don't hang on too long to where when there's a correction and you have the opportunity to lose money, that you ride it back down and then miss the high that you were experiencing, and not an emotional, and it could be an emotional high, but the high of your account, right? So I think that's one thing that's come up recently is just good, sound financial wisdom of if you're ahead, like stop while you're ahead. I mean, that's an old wisdom phrase, right? Just stop while you're ahead. And that's something that we like to hang on too long. And, we've had the longest bull run, and this is, I know, finance speak. The markets have been up for the longest stretch of time that they ever have been in the history of the United States of America. And we get lulled to sleep thinking it's going to continue forever. Like I can just throw money at the markets, I can put it in whatever instrument, and I'm just going to grow wealth hand over fist. And at some point, and I don't have my crystal ball, it's a little fuzzy, so I can't say exactly when it's going to happen, right? But at some point there's going to be a correction. And the reason I can say that with confidence is because that's the history of markets. They go up and they go down. And there's cycles about every 10 years. So we had the COVID cycle, but that was kind of an anomaly, really. It wasn't quite the normal cycles. So at some point, we're probably going to go down. So you have to ask, like, okay, well, if we're going to go down, we didn't see this longest bull run coming. So, is maybe there going to be a longer downturn in the market than we are expecting? Maybe there's another 3 or 4 years ahead of us that's not going to be that great. I don't know. But if you're in a situation where you've got money and it's in the markets, you might want to think about, man, let's protect it. Let's take some gains off the table and lock it up. So that's one of the big things that's been showing up this week. And, just on the economic situation we're in, again, I don't know where it's going to go. It might be up for another 2 or 3 years. Who the heck knows? They can pull levers and strings and stuff. It's hard to say, but just sound financial planning, put control back in your life and take some profit off the table so that you have more certainty around the gains that you've made.
I can say watch Uranus when it goes over the Pleiades. That will probably happen mid next year, early to mid next year. So just a little astrology thing there.
awesome.
I've been seeing the same thing. Like it's going up and up and up. Something's going to happen, and these are the potential astrology events that I have researched that may change these things. So, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I would say for June, here we are in and when you said solstice, I was like, oh my gosh, solstice, like, right? It's like we're in the middle of the year already, and what I'm seeing is if you're doing things the same way you've always done them, it's going to keep getting harder. because the world is changing, the energy is changing, and if you are a leader, you're being asked to do it differently. You're being asked to ask more questions, to have a higher perspective, to show up more as you. And however we have done it in the past to be the leaders of the future, we're being asked to do it differently. And that actually can be simplifying. It's like, what is my main message? What am I really here to show up as? You know, in my conversations with God, he's like, keep it simple and talk about the meridians. I'm like, that's boring. But actually, the meridians is all about emotional intelligence. So my message is clear. It's energetics and emotional intelligence. If we don't, sorry, I'm flipping you out. If we don't have emotional intelligence, you're not going to be the leader that you wish you could. If we don't have the energetics aligned, like Jeff said, for wealth too, you won't have the wealth and abundance propelling you forward. So the old ways aren't working. I've watched clients, I've watched colleagues that if they're not willing to shift, it's not working. You could say Facebook isn't as good. I've built 6-figure business on Facebook in a social media from clinic into that. Now it's changing. So I'm changing. I'm like, what needs to change? How can I adapt? Who's out there doing what I want to be doing? I'm investing into that person and I'm like, oh, connection. Yes. I'm building my business on connection, not on just putting a post out there and hoping and praying that someone buys. I'm building my connections and I'm willing to look at it differently. What used to work is not working anymore for body, mind, spirit,
All of
wealth,
it.
all of it. It's all shifting. So it's sort of like we want to kind of stay in the comfort zone, but I think we're really being asked to, like, how when you put mud on something and it hardens, we're being asked to take the shells off and to show up even more. And what does that look like for me and my clients? It looks like alignment. It looks like having tools every day to really be emotionally present with what you are feeling, having tools, having a coach, having a mentor, working on it from that inner integrity and alignment and knowing, because that's what's going to get you where you want to go, especially for leaders, entrepreneurs that want to be the change with the planet as it changes. So.
You guys tell my listeners where they can find you.
You can find me. I do a lot on Facebook. I'll put a link. I'm actually doing a relationship. I have a whole More Please series. I don't know if Dr. Dani talked about if she said More Please ever, but More Please is the energy of
Two videos ago, I named it
yeah.
More Please because of
Okay.
our session. So please
Yeah,
do a More
so
Please session.
More Please
It's
is
good.
just like,
Yeah.
it's so gooey. I have a whole series of it. And next week is relationship. And it's actually on 6/12/24. And I love how those numbers line up because relationships don't line up like that. Relationships are crazy. I want to be, and they're good. Dr. Dani just had an anniversary. So my inspiration here is like, the relationship you build with yourself is what will help you create co-creations with everything else. Money, business, people, all of it. So you can find me on Facebook. I have a workshop next week that I'm just loving, and I'll put a link below, also just website stuff. So if you want to start small, I have Abundant Body, I have digital products. There's a lot of ways to jump into my world at any priced investment. So that's what I got.
Awesome.
Awesome. Then for me, you can find me at wealthenergetics.money. It's my website. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel. Look me up at Wealth Energetics. Got a lot of good stuff on there. Working on wrapping up a masterclass that I started when I was down in the Dominican Republic a month or so ago. That should be live here pretty quick. It's a free masterclass. It'll be 5 parts, and it goes into the wealth and the energetics. I mean, it's the inner work and it's the financial strategies. So that's a great place to really dive in and get educated on what I do and it aligns. And, I don't have a lot of paid programs. A lot of it's just the strategies. And if you do want to do bioenergetic work, there are some packages we can put together there, but that's what I offer.
And Jeff's really funny too. Jeff did a very cute little parody on
Yes.
internet abundance experts.
Yeah, I've got more of those coming.
And their little whiteboard. That was great. That's gonna make you a star.
I've got a couple more of those coming. So
I have a reading and I have 2 classes coming out. That's what I've got going on right now. You guys know where to find me. My purpose and prosperity reading was kind of born out of my research for the first half of summer school, which is starting on 7/7. And in summer school, we are going to learn business and financial astrology. Okay. I'm going to take you through all of the solar system cycles from the sun to Pluto, how they may or may not affect stock markets, prices, people's emotions. I'm going to show you charts and graphs, and you're going to see how you can actually do it. There's also some very interesting lunar points that come with astrology that may or may not be associated with the particular stock you're looking at. And so we're going to show you how to evaluate that. I'm going to show you how to pull a company chart and to evaluate how a company is going to do based on their solar placements. Then we're going to go, the second half of that course is going to go into your own personal financial significators, the energy that you were born with, using a point, 2 points on your chart called the lot of fortune and the lot of spirit. These are derived points mathematically from the position of the sun and the moon during the day and time that you were born. And what these do is they speak to both destiny and fate and luck and also free will in your chart. And once we drill in a little bit, you'll be able to kind of tease out how you earn money, what inspires you to accumulate wealth to yourself, and aligning that to what your soul's purpose is. Because ultimately, if you're doing what your soul's purpose is, like we've been talking about this whole 45 minutes, is it brings the abundance to you. So I have that. I leave a link down there for you guys to click on that. Well, not for that class. We're going to launch that link next week. So you guys are basically getting a heads up that link is going to launch next week. So it'll be a pre-recorded bunch of modules. We'll get together and we'll go over the entire course live for about 2 hours. So you guys have any questions after taking that course. So that'll probably happen in August. And then in August, Summer School 2 starts, and that's going to be the lunar nodes and evolutionary astrology. So I have a lot coming up for you guys. And then last but not least, we have to cover the spiritual because all of this is very material. There is a Neptune class coming on June 24th. It'll be a live class with me and my colleague, Maria Schumacher. She's a professional constellational astrologer and Wiccan priestess. And she's going to offer us a very unique perspective on the energy of Neptune, as well as how it affects us personally and as a collective. So I think that's everything I have going on right now. It's a lot. It's a lot. So
I love the summer school. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I love that. Like summer schools and,
Well, I'm doing a lot of collaborations now. It's kind of interesting. I was just sort of, right before the eclipse, I was like, I just want to collaborate with somebody. I don't know what I want to do yet. And I just kind of put that intention out there. And then all of a sudden things are just started happening. And it's nice because I feel like you can get a lot more done with more people.
Yeah. And the energy of collaboration, it's like, it's building connections. It's building, it makes it interesting. Not that, like building it on your own is great. And who can you, I love Katie and I collaborate. This is a collaboration, it's like it just brings a different energy that is really nice and super fun.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for letting us tell you about what we do, what we love, and why we love doing it, and how we want to help you. Because we help each other, so let us help you. That's my whole thing. So yeah, send me your links, guys, and I can put it in the description. Just do it through Facebook, and we'll put this through. And we'll close it out from here, guys. Stay tuned for my next video next week. We're gonna do Venus through the Silver Gate. I love you all so much. Namaste. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.